But I did catch a tweet by Newt Gingrich, who said that the Republican Party won't be able to stop Trump now. The former speaker with me right now. Newt, you're arguing that even in the event of a split and John Kasich takes Ohio, still the same deal.
Sure. Let me say, though, just for a second, because he's earned it, that was a great way, a very gracious way for Marco Rubio to suspend his campaign, and a reminder of how articulate he is and how attractive he is, and why so many people really thought that he had a chance to be one of the youngest nominees in American history. So I think in that sense, Rubio.
I mean, he was very eloquent, good debater.
Wrong year.
What?
I mean, wrong year, wrong moment. And he's learning. Look, he has a great future. I knew him back before he was even Speaker of the House, and I think he will be back again if he wants to be. He has a tremendous capacity for leadership. He's very, very smart. But this is a year, two things happen. One is because Jeb decided to run from the very, very beginning, Florida was split. And that, I think, hurt him. And frankly, I believe, I don't have the details, but I believe that the Bush super PAC spent more money attacking Rubio than they spent attacking Donald Trump. So he had a lot of headwind there. And then second, Rubio is a naturally optimistic, positive cheerleader for freedom and for America in a year when anger and toughness were higher values for the voters. So in a sense, he was a little out of sequence with where the voters were. But my prediction is you'll see more of him in the future. He is an extraordinarily talented person. And this, I hope he will take as just part of the process of learning.
You know, Newt, you might know the mechanics of this, having been through this yourself. Marco Rubio had 163 delegates going into the night. Now, right. Are they committed to even a suspended campaign? Can he let them loose? Can they be a negotiating chip for him? What do you think?
Well, sure. I mean, he can't deliver them per se, but what he can do, first of all, by suspending but not ending his campaign, those delegates are still bound to him. So on a first ballot, he could be the margin if you know, Trump gets close but not there. Between Kasich and Rubio, you have people who may have the balance of power in negotiating between Cruz and Trump. However, the point I want to make over and over to people is there are only two plausible nominees coming out of tonight, and their first names are Donald and Ted. There's nobody else going to magically appear at the convention. There's not going to be a brokered convention. You're not going to have clever, you know, White House types or Washington types intervening. This is an enormous, massive process. Millions of votes are being cast, and there are only two people going to be there. Now, Kasich could easily be in position to be the vice presidential nominee. He could easily be in a position to be the guy who decides whether it ends up being Trump or Cruz, depending on how close they get. I mean,
well, that's why I asked you about that's why I asked you about those delegates, because you're quite right. They're committed on a first ballot, I guess, as you say, even with a suspended campaign. But he could highly, highly recommend. I think it's a good idea if you went to Ted Cruz. He did that. All of a sudden, that gap between Trump and Cruz narrows considerably, right?
Well, it would if they all decided to follow his advice.
Right.
And I think part of what we have to watch and see for the next few days, and I haven't seen the full numbers yet from North Carolina, Illinois, and Missouri, which in many ways are almost as interesting as the numbers from Ohio. Assume that Kasich, who is a very popular governor, carried 86 out of 88 counties for re-election. Assume for a minute that John does carry the state, gets 66 delegates. Trump has just gotten 99 in Florida. Now the question is, if Trump comes in first, even though he's not going to sweep them, but if he comes in first in North Carolina, Illinois, and Missouri, the momentum keeps building. As you pointed out earlier, he did carry the Northern Marianas. That's 9-0, not a big group. And earlier, I think Cruz had done something similar in another part of the Pacific with votes in one of the territories. But all of these little votes begin to add up.
Sure. And
what you'll see by tomorrow morning, I suspect, is Trump, with at least a 200-plus delegate lead over Cruz.
All right. Newt Gingrich, thank you very, very much.